Moefe Peace Osemere. This morning on Eagles Outlook, we're going to be looking at the latest report from Transparency International, ranking Nigeria as the 36th most corrupt country in the world. Now, this has, sparked a lot of reactions with views and counter views trailing this report already, whilst some are already questioning the integrity of this report. The presidency has already reacted, and according to the presidency, this report is just a testament, to the fact that this administration under President Bola Tinubu is indeed hell-bent on, addressing corruption. But maybe the thought of our guest is a bit different, from the submission of the presidency. We have High Chief Peter Ameh in the studios. He is the ex-IPAC chair and also an anti-corruption activist. He is also the present or current National Secretary, Coalition of United Political Parties. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Right. Good morning.
Well, yeah, it does feel good to engage this discourse this morning. I mean, Nigeria has been ranked 36th most corrupt country in the world, and that is according to Transparency International's 2024 Corruption Percentage Index, right? And the country is sharing this ranking with Uganda, Mexico, Madagascar, Iraq, and Cameroon, each scoring 26 points on the corruption index. I mean, this ranking is based on perceived levels of public sector corruption using a scale from 0, that's highly corrupt, to 100, very clean. Now, I don't know. I mean, there's quite a number of things that we would want to, look into as we engage this discourse this morning. First of all, it will be the place of the transparency from the Transparency International on the matter, especially with the ranking, because 36th, some are already giving us a clap and saying, well done, we've tried. At least we're not number 1 to 5. While others are saying that Nigeria should have been in the first top 3 or top 5. What is the corruption situation from your perspective, view, and experience with politics and the affairs of the nation so far, from your own view?
I think Transparency International, whatever data that they are relying on, is not sufficient enough to rank Nigeria, sincerely, because even the FCC knows that they don't even have enough data to be able to catch up with the kind of criminalities and fraud being perpetrated against our resources, against our people, against the commonwealth of our country. That's the truth, because there are several times the FCC is even asking people, please report to us what you see. And corruption is a constitutional matter. Section 15, subsection 5 of the Constitution says that we shall abolish all forms of corruption, corrupt practices within our system, within the country called Nigeria.
Right.
So if any government is not taking it as a serious thing, you should know that this is what is affecting our healthcare sector, our infrastructure, our livelihood. Is the corruption that has dwarfed our progress, that have made us not to have the kind of success that Nigeria should have been enjoying, that have made us not to be able to have the environment buoyant enough to be able to give free education to our people, to be able to create an environment where young people who are graduates will be able to get jobs. Because government can't employ everybody. And as soon as government cannot create an enabling environment, a lot of economies don't like people using an enabling environment because it's so bogus. Cannot put proper infrastructural facilities in place to say this is what will enable growth. One of the things you first see from your country is that, you have universities. Do you have foreign students? You don't have, because it's not an environment conducive for foreign students to come. Ghana is attracting both Nigerians and other Africans to study there. So what are they doing differently? So the corruption is a problem both in our private sector and our public sector. But the public sector is more injurious to our collective survival, to our collective development, and to our collective growth than any other thing, because the public sector corruption is the one that pushed the private sector corruption. Because you have a system in place where people inflate contract figures, people steal money, bleed. Look at what the FCC chairman said. He said procurement, how they call it, inflation corruption, is a major problem in our country. Today, in the 70s and the 80s, go and ask all the billionaires. There were nobody. They came from their villages and started going from one ministry to another to apply for contract. They can get it on the basis of fair bidding. But today, every job that is already going to the Ministry for National Assembly already has owner.
Wow.
What happened to
Every
a young
job?
Almost every 90%, 99% of the jobs. What happened to a young man who has a company with the CSC and felt that he can go and apply for a job because he had the competence and merit to be able to deliver on that job? He must know somebody. That's corruption. Corruption is just beyond, putting an end to public power. Influencing negative, approval is also part of corruption. Dealing with a process and bringing unnecessary bureaucracy that intends to hinder fair play in our public sector is also corruption.
All right. You rightly mentioned that the EFCC is also relying on Nigerians to blow the whistle, right? When they perceive any sort of corruption going on around that. That's actually what brought about the whistleblower policy. But one would wonder if that policy has even yielded any result.
No, it's not easy result because Nigerians too are now come to accept corruption. Nigerians too are also faulty in this case because you have a person that is doing a job and probably those who used to have newscasters, we know them, we respect them. When we see them, we just people are not looking at people who have money. People can drive convoys. So when you legalize an issue as a society and accept that those who the basis of respect should be based on how much you can spend, how much you have, and how much opulence you display, then you are also encouraging corruption to take root. The communities and public, religious houses no longer ask what is the source of your wealth. People just give you title. Immediately you can come with your boy or start building a story, building your village. They'll just give you one agabaidu or one title that will fit you. So there's a problem with the society, and the society must know that it's beyond us because it's the generation to generation that lays a block for a better generation to take over. You can't have a situation where each time we don't lay blocks, each generation comes and go, and there are no building blocks to be able to sustain the next generation. And the next generation is already seeing it as a pattern that it now becomes a my turn, our turn will soon come. Our turn will soon come is the major reason why we're not going anywhere. But we have a corruption problem, and it's a truth, especially with our procurement system, and especially with the way that our contract is being awarded, especially without transparency, without accountability, and that there's that the people are not even asking more questions. Because the Nigerians have been so beaten that if you come here and do a borehole today, people say, the other man did not even do borehole, this one is doing borehole. They don't want to care whether the cost of borehole is justified, whether the position of borehole was influenced by somebody, or whether the person putting it is because he has a friend living in close to that place, which is also part of corruption. So Nigerians don't care. All Nigerians want to do is that, they have been so disappointed by, successive government that any government that attempts to shows a little peep into what good governance is, they just start to praise it.
But would you blame Nigerians? Nigerians many times will say that we want to see it, the works, do the work. However you're doing it, we don't want to know. As long as there is infrastructure, that's what we want to see. As long as there is boreholes, as long as there are schools, as long as there's good roads, this is the things that we want to see. We don't want to know how you've put this money together. Are you hoodwinking us? Are you swindling us? Just put these infrastructures in place. Is that not good enough?
The cost of corruption is it has a cascading effect, because when you are supposed to award a road for 1 billion and you award the road for 5 billion, that means you have taken 5 roads into one. That means 5 communities are supposed to have road, one community is having. It takes another community another 10 years to get road. So it slows down the development of a country. It slows down the development of a people, because the more proper infrastructure you have, and the more money, the resources are prioritized in the way that is not overinflated and to be stand at kickbacks to personal pocket. Then you have even development. So we have a situation where in a country where public officers sees doing public works with public money as a favor to the people. When you hear people say that you do for me, I do for you.
So what is it supposed to be if it's
not
a favor?
It's not a favor. It's the responsibility of those who have brought themselves. Because amongst us, if we have 1 million people, we all qualify as citizens of this country to lead.
Right.
We are qualified. So if one person decides to put himself up to lead on our behalf, does not justify that he's leading himself. is leading at our own
The interest
of the
everyone.
people.
Right.
So it shouldn't be a favor. It is in fact, that's why, because our people have been so beaten with poverty, beaten with bad governance, and pauperized. That's why they don't know. That's why the power still belongs to the people, even to recall you or to validate your office every term of 4 years. So this is why you can see these people power is there, and you find out that 6 months to that election, 1 year to that election, people now start to talk to the people and start to rush back to them, because they know not ab initio the power was not with them, it was with the people. But because they have taken apparatus of state and they are using it to manipulate the people, either to suppress them, to arrest them, to intimidate them, so that they don't even to clamp down on them when they take out peaceful protests. That has to push for their right. Even in social elementary studies in primary school, they say what are the instruments that people can use to talk to government. They say pressure group, protest. These are things that we were teaching our children those days. But today, those things have now become a crime in a society that people want to. You see, if people want to circumvent processes, they now make everything looks like a crime. People are afraid. People can't talk. But the talk we are talking is not for us. It is for our collective good, so that Nigerians can have a future. Right. So that even their children, look, there's no amount of money you steal today. Go and look at how many ministers that serve under Abacha that you remember their name? How many ministers that serve under Absalam that people remember their name today? Even Jos Obasanjo here, if you list their name, most people will not know they were ministers. So this is a very a very short period of time that you participate and you have a glory. So what can be sustainable is your ability to build a society that is egalitarian. Even if you can't achieve egalitarianism, something that is close to it, that can help a society to say, this society we are living good and we are doing good, and your children will come in, because you keep money for your child, the man might not even know how to manage it.
All right. Technically, from one the FCC chair, said recently that. The endemic corruption in our system today stems from contracts, awarding contracts, and also inflating the cost implication of this contract. Now, you actually issued a piece yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, talking about the costly infrastructure project and the questionable contract figures, exorbitant contracts exposed in the FCT. Now, I'd like to, read word for word or word by word that the recent contract approved by the Federal Executive Council for various infrastructure projects in the FCT, they've actually raised eyebrows due to their exorbitant cost, and the closer examination of the contract sums and their implications reveals a disturbing trend that warrants scrutiny. Now, here is a breakdown of the contract sums and percentage variations. Contract 1, access road to FCT Fire Service Institution and erosion control in Kaura District. The contract, billion naira, completion period 18 months, more public disclosure required. Contract 2, engineering infrastructure to Guzape District. Original contract sum 22.2 billion, revised contract sum 70.890 billion, percentage variation 219% increase, and the completion period is actually additional 18 months. Then contract 3, access road bypassing airport's second railway, the contract sum 27.6 billion naira, the length 7 kilometers, cost per kilometer is 3.943 billion naira approximately. The completion period is 12 months. It goes on and on. So according to you, the contract sums and percentage variations are quite significant, especially for contract 2, which saw a 219% increase from the original contract sum. And you said the cost per kilometer for contract 3 is also noteworthy at approximately 3.943 billion. These figures warrant further scrutiny to ensure transparency and accountability. Whose fault exactly is this?
The fault is AFCC has fault, ICPC has fault, because they are supposed to be anti-corruption agencies that look at all these processes and procedure and look at how much per kilometer naturally is the benchmark for government. It is 780 million naira per kilometer. Because if you say a 7-kilometer road, what is the length of the bridge that will be there? That you are giving it at close to 4 billion naira per kilometer. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. Are you saying it's 5-6 lane? Because the road to the place, I know what I'm saying. The fact is that you also look at lot 1, Gusape. Okay. The contract sum was 22.2 billion. The variation now is 70 or something billion naira. That's about 219% increase. Our inflation figures is not be above 34.8%. So what are these increases meant for? And for what processes, what transparent process was the bidding done? Was it a public bidding? Was it an executive approval without public bidding? See, these things we are saying is because we need to grow. We have a federal capital territory that is not competing with any federal capital territory to the 21st century. Not with Johannesburg, not with Chinese capital, not with Canadian capital, none. Because we do not, yes, we can talk about road, but we don't have infrastructure like pipe and water, we don't have electricity, there's nothing. So we need to be able to, put our money in proper spending and have a spending that will be, that will not be too inflated the way it is. Because nobody can tell me that you can do a variation for a contract. When the current minister came in, one of his complaints, go and check your videos, is that he doesn't like variations. That is a crime, that he does not like variation, that variation is too much in FCT. That was one of his major complaints. And today we are seeing a variation for 219%. We are seeing a road, 7 kilometers of road to be done at about 3 billion 943.
Well, what is the implication of that?
No, the implication is that we are disconnected from government. We like I tell you, there's so much excitement that the work is going on. No, that is beyond that. Because there are rural communities in this FCT that will not see road, not under this administration. So if we manage the resources well, and we'll do proper accounting process and proper transparency, and make sure that the cost for every project does not exceed the normal cost per kilometer, then we can have more road for more communities.
Well, in the case of inflation, just like you've highlighted, don't you think that could be blamed on the exchange rate? Because we've seen some projects abandoned, and the contractors summoned to give reasons why those projects were abandoned, and they say that the amount earlier agreed is no longer feasible for them, especially looking at the exchange rate.
We're saying about 219% increase. In fact, Nigeria is not optimizing its own benefit when it comes to contract. For FCT, what are they importing? We're not in South, where you have savannah and all this kind of swampy area. You are on a solid ground when you are building road here. Well, is it the asphalt that's your problem? Is it the gravels? See, Nigerian contract sum, we must be able to build it in a way that even what they are taking from the road that they are using for it should also be part of it. We can't have a situation where people just bill us and then bill us as their own, discretion without proper public scrutiny. The public has to know. There has to be a publication. There has to be several allowing people to participate in this contract process. There has to be. Look, I put figures out. The figures are very clear. You cannot verify contract from contract lot 1 from 22.2 billion to 70 point something billion, about 219% increase. You cannot verify contract for. You cannot make a contract for 7 kilometers at the cost of close to 4 billion per kilometer. 3.943 billion per kilometer. We need to put this in public, let people know that Nigeria belongs to us. It is our priority to save this country. It is our priority to speak about government, because government itself does not belong to itself. We are not beholden to government. Government is beholden to us.
Okay. At the end of the day, how would you assess the present National Assembly that we have?
Our major problem stems from the fact we don't have an independent National Assembly. That's our major problem.
Independent
How do you
in what
mean
way?
independent?
No. Look, the independence of the National Assembly is very critical. And when the National Assembly is not playing towards the executive all the time, you have a better governance system. And that's why the people who found it, even in the ancient Greek, was the fact that they needed to have something that checks the order. Because the total power is not in the president's hand. But today, the total power in African countries are mostly judiciary. The National Assembly see the executive, the controller of the resources, as the most powerful one.
But that's not reflective of the Constitution in itself, is it?
No, it is reflective. It is.
From the Constitution.
Yes, because the National Assembly has very strong powers, apart from oversight functions. They also have the power of approval. If you have of resources, you know how it to be applied and where it to be applied and for what purpose for it to be applied and what benefit it is to our people. Because the primary purpose of National Assembly is to make laws for good governance and development of our country. So if you are making laws only to the time that the executive bill comes and you pass it within 3 hours, you have appropriation bills, you pass them within 1 month. You don't go through line by line items. We have a repeated line items in our budget that they are buying cars again in the presidency. They bought cars last year. They are renovating some part of the presidency. They renovated it last year. They are spending 9.4 billion for travels for the president and vice president this year. It's a lot of money, close to 10 billion naira. So you can't have that kind of expenditure that continuously repeat themselves. Today we don't even know where the National Assembly have said that the jet the president bought, the budget, the request was not before them. And
yes.
Yet the president spent the money. You can't even spend without appropriation.
So this Senate that we have now, is it rubber stamped? I mean, will it be safe to tag away?
No, it is. There's no doubt about it. Nobody on the street will tell you otherwise. The Senate is not living to its responsibility. The Senate has to take it that this country has been given to them to superintend on the affairs of this country by making laws that will checkmate the activities of the executive. That will checkmate. Look, people concentrate on ICPC, concentrate on EFCC. One of the most powerful law organ that is recognizable in the Constitution is the Code of Conduct Tribunal.
We don't hear a lot.
Nobody hear about the Code of Conduct Tribunal. You should look at the Code of Conduct and ethics of people who hold public office. You are supposed to file what you own before you get there. So if the National Assembly sees that they want to look at Section 15, subsection 5, and make Nigeria work for our people, they should strengthen the Code of Conduct Tribunal.
But don't you think that would be inimical, even to the workings and the membership of the National Assembly itself? Because there are quite a number of observers who have said that the moment you strengthen these institutions, it will come back like a leash and bite, even you.
They are just being clever by half. Because at the end of the day, we have seen people who have gone to National Assembly and are crying today. We've seen.
Right.
Who would refuse to do the right thing. My friends, they're crying today. I've seen governors, when they were governors, I would not want to mention them, people I'm close to. We used to advise them and say, Oga, please try and make sure that local government autonomy is there, so that people can have free choice to choose. Say, no, the local government, today they are in the National Assembly, those governors.
That's the
they are
point.
shouting for local government autonomy. At the voice, because they can't even win councillor in their ward.
Wow.
Because you cannot apply law against somebody,
right,
and the person comes and will not apply it against you.
Okay. Asset declaration is supposed to be a tool, for addressing or fighting corruption. Where are we today when it comes to asset declaration? Why is it something that our political leaders are not receptive to?
It is the law. The law and the people managing the affairs of such law are the problem. You declare an asset. You are a public officer. You go to the code of conduct and apply that the asset declared by the president should be given to you. They say no, it's his personal information. A public officer, a man who have decided to govern us, a man who have decided to be part of the process of governance, you can't even request for any of these things and you get it. You have to go to court. Court will not grant it. They will play you 4 years will be passed. And people, it is a well-known information on the street that people would declare what they don't. They intend to steal. They declare it ahead of time. One building in Kara district, another one in Galadima, one in this, so that as soon as the money comes, they quickly buy it and then chalk it up. So if the Code of Conduct Tribunal was working, you go into government, you come out with what you have. You can't be richer. Today, politicians are richer than businessmen. That shouldn't be so. You can't go into government and come out richer.
So does that go back, to the fact that even the civil service in itself, right, the institutions to themselves contribute to the corruption index that we are facing now? Our
civil service have been broken. Our civil service is damaged by politicians, and there's no more authority of the civil service, to be able to, withstand the onslaught of politicians. They are the one nominating people to be employed at the civil service level. They are the one giving letters to people to get appointment. I feel that if you have a job in the civil service, you can have a committee, a board, employment board, that people can apply from all walks of life.
Right.
No letter should be accepted by anybody, so that Nigerians can have the best working in our public service.
And the registration process should be seamless.
So
without any cost implication.
You understand that you have a civil service that is even more afraid of people. There's a time Nigeria have super permanent secretaries in this country that you can't talk to them. Them Philip Osodu. Can't.
Okay. Osodu, yeah.
But today you don't have permanent secretary that is based politically. So they are even more afraid to ask their minister, this route you are taking, and write a memo. So you can't. The civil service have been driven by more bureaucracy than proper administration. Bureaucracy is that they create more decks for the approval of a memo that would have been approved by one desk. They create 5 decks for it, and then they keep on dragging signature. That's why you find that government business is slower than public business.
Okay. Now, in a bit to get it right, do we adopt a bottom-to-top approach or a top-to-bottom approach? Because whether we like it or not, I mean, at the mention of corruption, the first thing that comes to mind is our politicians, our leaders. They are the ones corrupt. But the reality is there is corruption even at the grassroots level. Public, private sector, corruption is there. So if we are to address this, should we adopt a top-to-bottom approach or bottom-to-top approach?
Government corruption drives all corruption.
So
Government.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Government corruption?
Government leadership corruption drives all corruption. See, if you have a government today that put his foot on ground and say this should be this, I'm telling everybody will follow suit. You go to rural communities, they are very poor. They can't go to farm. The security is not there for them to farm. If they go to farm, they'll be kidnapped or killed. So what is the next option for them? Government must be able to stop that. And government must be able to stop and create transparency in governance. Look at what Donald Trump is doing today. That's headed by Elon Musk. They are telling you everything that government has spent with USAID, the kind of fraud that is there. Government must have an efficiency department that works this out for our people. I'm telling you, contracts should be free. We have rich billionaires today, whether from southeast, from north, that were nobody, that got through military regime, applied for a job of billions and got it. They don't know anybody. Today is not so. In fact, the job that is being put to budget, the person who will be awarded to is already aware of it. No, I'm telling you the truth. Every job that will be go to National Assembly that will be appropriated, the person that will have that contract is already aware. I'm telling you this.
On fact,
there must be transparent process for our contract.
But would you say that the civil society organizations that we have in the country, they've really been able to help bring about transparency and accountability? Because the CSOs, they also have a role to play.
CSO that refused to be audited. When the government said they wanted to audit, the political party are audited every year. They are audited, public audit from government. INEC will send auditor to them. When the proposal came, that she also went and I felt bad with them, and that's why my trust with them declined. Because why wouldn't if I have nothing in my cupboard, why wouldn't you audit me? You should audit it. Let it be a public audit. You can't have a secret court as an organization where the head of the CSO stays there for 30 years. Most of the CSO, go and look at them. The leaders are there for 20, 25 years. There's no change of party. Now you are asking that democracy should be done democratically. So we have a situation where we need a government. See, I followed leaders in this country. I can tell you that. I've seen leaders that they won't give you money, but they will teach you how to be responsible with the money in your hand, as little as it is. And you will know that they are teaching you for the benefit of your life and the benefit of the community. They won't give you money. Because the reason why people look up to people in government to give money these days is because they know that, you they steal, now why you know go give me my own? Now still you they steal. We know. That's why all our people know that people giving them money are stealing our public money. And that's why you see pressure on politicians every day, text message, give me this, give me that. And the politician does not even see it that they are creating more poverty. Because there's no amount of money you can give to somebody and take him out of poverty by creating a proper means of livelihood for the person.
All right. Before we, embark on a quick break, in a yes or no response, is there an end in sight to corruption in Nigeria? Or let's say under this administration?
It's a tough question. I think we'll continue to review matters as they come.
Okay.
So let me not give a yes or no.
Okay. Right. We'll take a quick break to go pay some bills. When we come back, we'll open the studio lines for you, family members, to call in to share your 2 cents on the topical issue. Do join us again.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Kai, oga, wannan injin naka ya gaji fa.
Amma ka san haka kuma ka bari na kashe kuɗi na?
Oga, ba laifi na bane. Ka san injin nan naka.
Kuma yanzu kake faɗa mun haka?
To ai nayi na gyara injin nan amma injin nan naka yaki.
Ku jira aka yi.
Ka san cewa injin motocinka da na janareto suna buƙatar mai kyau yadda ya kamata? Ita ce ta hanyar sayan mai inganci. Shi yasa matatar man Dangote ta tace muku man fetur zuwa RON, wato tsaftataccen mai wanda shine ingantaccen man fetur din da zaka iya dogaro ko amincewa da shi a dukkanin injinan ku. Lokaci yayi da za ku kula da injinan ku, sai man Dangote mai inganci.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Has anyone told you you can talk about your business on radio for just 20,000 naira? Get a chance to talk your business for 25 minutes on The Entrepreneur. Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. For more inquiries, call 090-9984-4433. 090-9984-4433. Hurry now.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Right, I had to go on that recess. We're right back. This is Eagles Outlook, and we talk politics and current affairs. We're looking at the latest ranking by the Transparency International right there now. 36th. 36th is our position now in the corruption index as it stands. Whilst quite a number of persons are optimistic that this is a progress, others are saying that no, this is a degeneration, and that in fact it is not indeed the actual representation of what corruption indeed feels like in Nigeria. But then, what would be your thoughts in the discourse? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? Can we indeed say that we can revitalize, re-engineer, reform our society, our minds, from the constant discourse that says that corruption in Nigeria is endemic? It's more like a second nature. Well, we want to hear from you, want to know your thoughts, on the discourse right now. The number would be 0907-353-0044.
The other number is 0908-766-8888. You can also send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal number on 0909-705-4450. Please, when you call in to share your thoughts, stay civil and avoid the use of vulgar language.
That's right.
Do well to maintain at least 2 minutes. That way we can actually accommodate diverse views on the show this morning. And most importantly, turn down the volume of your radio set. Let's take this one. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Good
morning, Moses.
From Suleja.
Yeah, right, good to have you.
Thank you.
I want to thank your guest there. In fact, valuable justice to the program or the topic being discussed. Fighting corruption in Nigeria is one of the biggest challenges. Up to date, we have not gotten anyone to come fight this battle for us. And this battle should be a holistic battle that will start from the top, from the top down. Yeah. Then we look at this issue of corruption. How did it come? So we have seen these political powers, the politicians, the way you discover that somebody embezzles money from other parties, then join the winning party, then the issue is silent under the carpet. Do we have laws that carry out when somebody being discovered by corruption to bring this law as a persecution? Sometimes I use China. Sometimes if I say China is one of the corrupt nations that was Emma. But what did they use to eliminate corruption from China? And when some of these people were not able to get the opportunity in China, I see them coming to Nigeria to also have, because the system of our government is open to corruption. Is that not so? Where somebody being caught up in an act of corruption, but no action. Okay, look at Buhari regime, which everybody was hoping that this man will come and fight corruption. But amazingly, in Canada showcased that it's zero corruption, but people that work under him, how comes that money were embezzled during his own period? So the issue of corruption, in fact, is a tough thing in this country. It takes a man, somebody who is hearted for his country called Nigeria, and that man should be ready to sacrifice himself. Because I discovered that when you want to fight corruption in this nation, in fact, they will fight you back. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Moses.
That from you, Moses. All right,
Okay.
Moses right there is giving us 2 cents. Well, let's just get to the WhatsApp now and see some of the messages right there.
All right, Akamata from Federal Housing, Lugbe says, good morning, Chief Peter Ahmed, Daniel, and peace. Corruption in Nigeria has become a way of life to some extent. Every facet of the society is engaged in, sorting to get undue advantage or extortion to help offenders get away from the law. It is a messy situation, free for all, and every position is an opportunity to grab anything you can. Akamata from FHA Lugbe, thank you for that message. Abbas reporting from Duse says, good morning, UD.
Good morning to you,
and our
Abbas.
guest.
Yeah.
When we talked about corruption, some persons think it's all about government, which I don't think so. This index rating is an indication that an average Nigerian is corrupt, not Nigeria in its entirety, but the people who make up, that geographical entity called Nigeria. We all are directly or indirectly involved and beneficial to corruption. No exemptions.
Okay.
Furthermore, we need to talk to ourselves. Corruption is not done by ghosts, but by our brothers and sisters occupying public and private positions. So let us change our attitude and be responsible to ourselves. No government can eradicate corruption if the people are not willing to kill corruption. Abbas, thank you so much for that message. Let's take this one. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning to you, my brother.
Good morning, Marvel. Good morning to the good. I'm calling from the good.
Yeah,
Right.
Coco, welcome aboard. Talk to us, Coco.
Okay, sir. I guess I've tried. I've said it all. But I want to say the only way that we can fight and succeed corruption in this country is when we have free and fair elections. Because when someone is spending his money in order to get to power, once he gets there, first and foremost, he must look for a way to retrieve his money back. He do not even have the citizen in his mind in order to fight for them. Rather, he will know that the process of him getting to that seat was not free. It was spending with his money, so we want to. So them now, they are seeing, the politicians, they are seeing this rulership as a thing of business, so they must to gain on it. Imagine the amount using to fix 1 kilometer of road. Even in South that we come from, that we have a surface ground, like you have to, if you are to create a road, you must buy lateral, buy this, do 8 work and the rest. You cannot spend such amount. Talkless of not that you can even excavate on that same route and use
Are you there? Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So you can excavate on the same route and still use that same lateral to fix the road, or you can only grade the road and add to your stone base and get it right without buying a lateral. And we are fixing at that issue compared to 7 kilometers. So you see that the corruption is because everybody wants to make it at the detriment of others. So I think the only way is when the election of this country begins to be free and fair. In such a way, you do voters card as ATM card, that when you, in many ways you slot it, the votes will be count.
All right.
You go to any state, you can withdraw money as far as your ATM with you. I think that's the only area you will be able to have free and accountable of this corruption, and the corruption will be made. Because when you are no longer buying food and you at the plaza of gold, if you corrupt, the society will come for you and pray for you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Mr. Coco,
Coco.
thank you so much. Apparently, the Labour Party and the APC, they already, loggerheads over
Honestly.
this report. The Labour Party is saying that, a lot more needs to be done. Meanwhile, the APC is saying, come on, in another year, right, the efforts by this administration to tackle corruption, will become more evident. But don't you think that our politicians are too quick to apportion blames? And then you see comparisons in such a way that one would come out and say, oh, during the PDP administration, corruption was not this bad. and under this administration, it's something else. Is there really any basis for such argument?
In public opinion, there must always be contestation of ideas and opinions. You can't stop that, whether it's right or wrong. People must also have the ability. In fact, that's why our constitution even made, for you to freely have opinion, and the opinion you can also impact it on those you feel like. Those who want to take it will take it. Those who want to investigate further will investigate further. Like I said, this number 36 that have been given to us, the people who are doing it does not have access to our corruption data. They don't.
So if they had,
no, they don't. They're just
they
are just looking at street voice properly. Just stop people in the street and then look at whether police took bribe. These are symptoms of the major corruption.
So what's the major? What's the major?
The major corruption is completely dipping into our public purpose and taking our money.
Unabated.
Unabated, and that's what has cascaded into the massive poverty at the lower level. So the man who called, who said no, all of us are corrupt. Yes, I agree. I'm not denying that. But I'm telling you, the leadership corruption affects everybody. Because a man goes to an hospital, he has no insurance. A man goes to school, he has to pay the child of the school fees. A man wants to build house, he has to save the money to build the house from beginning to the end. There's no mortgage financing that is acceptable to private and public sector. If government wants to do 100 or 300 million houses now, those working in private stations might not be qualified.
All right.
So you have a system that there's an inequality in the system. This inequality is causing corruption at all level. And the only people who can stop this inequality is our government. And I agree with your last caller. The only way this corruption can stop is when the votes of the people start to count. The people in government will not start to be afraid. I agree with you 100% without any doubt.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, hello. Good morning to you, Almost, and Dr. Uduak and the guest in the studio.
Good morning
Good
to
morning.
you, my brother.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Your discussion is top notch. The guest in the studio, I salute you, sir. You have spoken very well. My name is Omotani, reaching you from Galagama this morning. All protocols duly observed.
Right.
You see, very quickly, just to add 2 cents to the contribution of the guest. You see, not just only when our votes count, sir. I agree with you when you say when our votes begin to count. Yes, politicians begin to become selected by the people and not by selection. It becomes a true election and not selection. But you see, before then, sir, if we select people who are not going there to face the law when they fought the law, sincerely they will go there and rubbish us the same way these ones are rubbishing us, and they will get out of office without accountability. Sir, we need to begin to clamor for the law of Nigeria to begin to clamp down on corrupt politicians. Otherwise, any new politicians who go there, they will still go there and rob us. The same way these ones who are passed now, who are to be passed, and those who passed, robbed us and went free. And this illegal is still working free today without the Nigerian air. He collected the money for this air. Well, so many others. Even the Senate president has a pending case in court. His attention was needed in court before he became the Senate president. He was going to court and all of that because of an allegation on him. These people go free. They go scot free at the end of the day. If our law don't begin to clamor for our law to clamp down on them, let them spend the rest of their life in jail when they dupe Nigerians as they occupy our public offices. This is the only way. Politicians will not run after the public office anymore. When they know that I get there, and yes, I have the opportunity of stealing money, but before my tenure ends, I am probed, and then I'm found guilty. I can't be the one to spend that money I have stolen anymore. I'll be in jail for the rest of my life. Okay. This is what can actually make this thing to stop, sir.
Okay.
Because I tell you, if you say that for election alone, I can decide to run as a good president. It's because I know the law will not clamp down on me. I will equally steal so that I can secure for my own family. Because I know the law does not work in Nigeria. The law needs to work. When the law works, you will see that the wrong people will get scared of going into office because they know the end is jail or probably a firing squad. When they see certain amount of money, that's just the thing. That is the most important thing right now. If we can get that done, sir, if we can get that done, even now as I'm talking to you, a lot of politicians will resign because they know they will end up in jail if they cannot account for the money that they spent while in office. That's what we should do. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, my brother. God bless
Thank you
you.
very much,
Appreciate it.
Omotayo.
Quite a lot right there, handful of Mataya.
Right.
What's the right to response just before we get into this message on here?
I agree with him to a great extent, but what I told him about it, there's another leg to the issue. I don't like to say it on radio and other places. I avoid it because people don't misunderstand it. Let me tell you, government, when you put people in power, you also have responsibility to keep them in check until the next election. Which that's why there's pressure group, that's why there's peaceful protest. You know, but Nigerians put people in power, go home to sleep and wait for another 4 years. And in that 4 years, the people become stronger, the electorate become weaker. So you need to have that kind of balancing, to have, you know, agitation that are based on peaceful principles, to be able to pursue and put pressure on those in national. Look, you can't go to White House today, White House in America. You will see people protesting for right of dogs. People protesting for water,
At the White House.
that water should have more chlorine. People protesting that they should remove chlorine from water. People protesting that the plane they entered yesterday didn't serve them bottled water. This is the kind of that make a society democratically tick when people always seek to protect their right by peaceful protest. You can't just have people elected today, you go sleep, you wait for another 4 years, you go to the polls. So these are the challenges. You can talk about accountability, about trying to, you know, have a law that arrests people. Who is going to make that law? It's not a president that is not willing to fight corruption. It's not the chief judge of Nigeria that probably is appointed by the president. So there's a lot of rejigging we have to do. If it's for our law, people know that at least I can mention 100 of the laws right now without opening any book for where we need to reform. But I'm telling you that if we have an election, when we have over 175,000 polling units, an election starts at the polling unit and ends at the polling unit, and results are announced at the polling unit, and we do away with the collation center, and we allow from EC8A and from EC8B to rule the day from the polling unit and upload it to the right IRF. I'm telling you, politicians will relate with their people. They will seek. Look, most of the House of Reps and Senators today no longer have operative constitutive office like it used to be in 2000 to 2011 because they don't even come home because there's no need. Just wait for election, give people who are already suffering money and win elections.
But presently, do we have a president that is not willing to fight corruption?
No, I'm not saying he said it now. He said it in one of his interviews, and I made a statement and I was disappointed in him. He said that we cannot eradicate corruption. He said it, and I told him that he should go and look at section 15, subsection 5 of the Constitution.
That talks about eradication.
It must be abolished at all level in government.
Okay.
So when the government made that, I felt very bad. You can check the video.
All right, let's take this message from Turki Bihundu. He says,
Right.
good morning, Daniel Anife. I'm in Nasarawa State.
Good morning
Those
to you,
who rated
Turki.
Nigeria 36th most corrupt country didn't do their job well. Nigeria is supposed to be number 1 on the list. The EFCC is corrupt, judiciary very corrupt, the banking sector corrupt, INEC corrupt, announced election results at middle of the night when all Nigerians are sleeping. The president can tell the police, judges to keep a perceived enemy or enemies as it were till after his tenure. E.g., former CBN governor still in detention and denied bail. Politicians very corrupt. A local government chairman comes to office, his account balance is 100K, but give him 1 month and check his bank account. Billions will be there. Turki Bihundu. Well, in the case of the former CBN governor, do you think he's been held, for no justifiable reason? Right. Are you also unaware of the single largest recovery made by the EFCC? I mean, late last year, if I'm not mistaken.
You see the issue,
and a host of other, things.
You see, the issue is that as much as I want corruption to be fought, we don't want people to use it against their political enemies. I don't like the CBN governor; it messed up the country.
Right.
But there are cases that are billable offences.
Okay, you're talking about the former CBN governor.
Yes, the former CBN governor. There are cases that are billable.
So is he a political enemy to? From
what we're saying, let me tell you something. The easiest way to make a society descend into anarchy is for you to perceive because somebody you feel are done wrong, should be killed without proper trial. Because they will also apply to it to somebody who have not done anything and justify it. So what you have is that the man did a lot of things that angered this present administration. He changed the naira during time of election. People couldn't get money to buy votes. He did a lot of things because he also wanted to be president. So that is interest that actually pursued him. And the man has said that he has an approval from President Buhari. Buhari could go to France to make about on the Malabu power plant intervention. But he should have also gone to court to say, yes, I approve this or I did not approve.
But he said his signature was
No,
fake.
it was forged for the money.
Forged.
It was money. I tried
okay.
to follow everything.
Right. Yeah.
It's not for the approval for change of Naira.
Naira notes. Okay, that was definite.
So
that was
there are issues that corruption in the CBN also, the CBN too need to be properly oversighted. Because today we are hearing 35 million and 50 million being paid to two ladies in the CBN as consultants. The CBN need to have proper oversighting because they are running our resources, even burning of our old money and printing of and all sorts of money in the circulation. They are running it without oversight. I don't think the CBN Act give them that overbearing authority over our resources.
all right. We don't want to run this one without oversight. Let's take this very message now.
Yusuf from Wusetu says, good morning, UD,
Good morning to you,
Omoife,
Yusuf.
and your guest. The biggest corruption in Nigeria is located in procurement, our contract where figures are hyperinflated. The contract contain variation clauses and the project in itself are hardly supervised by government officials. Also, substandard materials are used and deliberate delays in completion of the contract to the extent that the project site becomes their permanent site. God help us. Have a nice day. Yusuf from Wusetu says.
God
Yusuf,
help
thank
us,
you for that
of
message.
course.
Well,
It usually gets back to the God help us thingy. So between spirituality and the physicality of bringing about change in this discourse, what would it be for you as your final thoughts?
I think they have made mistake. God has already helped us. It is us who have refused to help ourselves. God can't do everything. God created the man government and the heavenly government. When you are running on every race, is that you shouldn't steal public money. You shouldn't do it. But it does not state that you should not stop people from stealing public. People who are stealing public money, you shouldn't stop them. So God has done everything for Nigeria. It's Nigerians that are still relying on God to do what God has asked them to do for themselves.
Okay,
Alright.
so basically we need some sort of attitudinal change, and this is not left for to the politicians alone now, but even the masses.
I think we have attitude. We know the right and wrong. We need to be committed to making sure that it works.
Okay.
We know the right and because if you keep on telling that attitudinal change, it's like they want to change something that they don't know. They know what is wrong, what is right. People know they shouldn't sell their vote because there's a infrastructure on that vote. There's good governance on that road. There's medical centers on that road. There's security on that road. There's good reasoning and kindness on that vote. So they know that. So why are they selling it? Because they themselves are thinking that they are taking what has been stolen for them. So, but they are more in danger.
So you're saying that whatever is going on in terms of the politics, the corruption and everything is intentional. And it is from a place of knowledge.
Yes, of course.
So it's not like they are just doing this, we don't know. We don't know.
No, it's not ignorant. Everybody knows.
It's calculated.
People know. You see, when you go to, just look for a small corner where people drink, they call it Yoruba Paraga. Just sit down with those people and be talking. They'll be telling you, this one are Tifo. Say don't be that house. They'll be telling you, they know.
Wow.
People know. Even the most local person you think is not educated, he knows everybody is stealing. He said, you say, I've been gate man for that time, but the man don't get anything. See him, he don't be this thing. They know. But they are so weakened that they have forgotten about their right to fight for what is their right.
But when you say they are so weakened, let me chip this one very quickly. Could this also account for why we are having a surge, right, in the kidnapping, in the antisocial activities? Is this as a result of the anger of knowledge that they have?
I want you to do investigation further. That's why there's no good pity. There's no good pity when they take somebody. They think, don't mind, you don't chop your own. He's doing for all his family. His children are abroad. There's no pity. Go and look at it. Poverty is violence. Go and read it. Expand on that thing I've given to you. Look at, there's a book. I'm trying to forget the book I read. The poverty itself is violence.
Okay. All right. All right, that's what it is. The conversation has come to a close officially for the Eagles Outlook. We want to say a big thank you to each and every one of us. Get across social media platforms right now as you hear the sound of our voice. YouTube right there. Get on there, subscribe, and on Facebook, do well to give us a like and a following. Leave a comment in the comment section, and of course, let's drive this conversation even further. All right, to develop our dear country, Nigeria.
All right, so we've been speaking with High Chief Peter Ameh. He is an anti-corruption activist, ex-IPAC chair, and also the National Secretary, Coalition of United Political Parties. Thank you so much for spending part of your time with us on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
Appreciate it.
We'd like to state very clearly that the views expressed on the show this morning by the guests and the contributors were not influenced by Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. I am Omoife Peace Osemere.
Udwak Daniel is my name.
Good morning.